Video, we're going to create a simple calculator really that just does addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. To do this we're going to need numbers, so we are not going to need the raw input. We're just going to need input to get a number, and maybe we'll use more than one variable. So let's make a start with it, see if you can follow along. The first thing I really need to do is instruct the user. We need to give them lots of prompts on the screen to say what we're doing, what the program is. Otherwise we just end up with a line here, just a flashing line with no information, and they haven't got a clue what to do. So we've got to guide them as much as possible with all of our print statements. So my first line may be print and the name of the program. That would be useful. Calculator. Apart from the fact that I can't spell calculator, I've done quite well. So calculator, there we go. And I'm going to use something quite new. I'm going to use a print statement on a new line, but I am not going to put anything after it whatsoever. It's just a print. And what that is going to do is give me a blank line in my program, so that when I run my program, it's going to have the word calculator, then a blank line, and then some information. So the information that I'm going to do is I'm going to get two numbers from the user. Now I could do first number, and I will explain why I've written it in this method shortly. First number equals, it's a number I want, so I'm going to use input, and I'm going to use a string. Again, please notice how I'm building up my statements. I did the two parentheses first because I know I need them, and then I did my two speech marks because I know I need them. A common error is to actually make a mistake and miss one of them out. Your program will crash. So putting them both in, because we know one opens and one closes, if you do them at the same time, the chances, the likelihood of you making a mistake are lessened. It's just something that I do. It's good practice. You should try to do it too. So first number equals input, and I need to give them a statement so that they can enter the number. Please enter a number. That's good. And again, if you remember that if I just left it like that, they would have to type that number right afterwards, and it wouldn't look very neat on the screen. You could put a space in so that there was a space afterwards, and then they would be typing their number. I like to use an arrow to give them an indication of where they're entering their number. It's just good practice, I suppose, trying to help the user as much as possible doing it. And then I could get the second number from them. Second number equals input, because I want a number. And notice I just opened and closed those. I know I need them, so I've done that. Then I put the two speech marks in. I know I need both of them. Please enter another number, space. Okay, so now I've got two statements appearing on the screen, and I'm storing them in first number and second number. So let's save and run my program and see what happens. So there you go, I've got the word calculator, then that blank space from the print, and it's waiting, please enter a number. So it's stopped at this line. That input is making the program stop at that line. We can use that to great effect later on. As we know a little bit more about programming, we can pause our screen so it doesn't run off into millions of lines of code. We can pause it using this technique. So it's waiting. Please enter a number, 1, 2, 3, press enter. Then it's run down to this second line, second number, input, enter another number, let's say 5. So we can do something simple. 123 plus 5 is going to be 128. Press enter. Well, actually that's just the end of my program. As you notice, there's no lines after it, so it's just crashed. Not crashed, it's just stopped. Why I've done this is to let you know that even though your program has stopped, when you put these in, the shell remembers these values. So if I typed first number, pressed enter, it would give me the value that we typed in for first number, 123. If I typed second number, it would give me the value we typed in for second number, 5. I could even perform some maths and try it out in the shell. So if I did first number plus second number, it would give me 128. So it's taken these values in and it has remembered them, and it will remember them until I give it a new value for first and second number or close the program down completely. So let's see that. Let me close the shell. Okay, and under run I can actually get a new shell up, and if I type first number now, it hasn't got a clue what first number is. Oops, it hasn't got a clue because I haven't spelt it correctly. First number. There you go. Even so, it's saying it's not defined. So we closed the shell down, and when we closed the shell down, we lost whatever was stored. So by starting a new shell, it doesn't remember anything from a previous shell. So we lose any functionality. So be careful when closing down the shell if you want to test things out with your program. When we played with our shell, we saw that we could add the two together. We could add first number and second number together. Now, if I just did first number plus second number, make sure I've spelt it correctly this time, and run my program. Okay, please enter a number 123, 2. It's not doing anything. It's not doing anything at all. So it still remembers what first number is, and it still remembers what second number is, but it's done some processing. So we've got some input here, and we've got some output there. We've got some processing here, but we haven't done any output. So all I would need to do is put print on the beginning of that to get some output, and that is a number, that is a number, because we input, so we can actually add them together because it will perform mathematical operations on that one. So there we go. If I now run my program, click OK, enter a number 123, 2, the answer is 125. It might be nice to tell the user that the answer is 125. So let's handle that in our program. Print. Now this is text. The answer is. Now remember, we now have two different data types. We have a string and we have a number. It's adding them together, and we're trying to join them with the plus symbol. This is going to result in an error. Let's see that happen. So 1, 2, 3 and 2, we have an error. Can't join string and number together. There's an error line on line 5. Now if we go back, we know that if we put a comma in, it's not joining them, it's actually printing that statement out and then printing that statement out. Okay, we're doing two statements on one line, rather like we did two statements here with a print and an input. So it's very Python specific, might not work in another language. This is how we combat it and make it work. So if I run this program now, I get, let me stop the program and start a new window. There we go. Please enter a number 1, 2, 3 and 2. The answer is, and we get our answer. It's printed the string, comma, printed the number. But it sort of makes sense, and we're giving the user some sort of information. Now let's say I also wanted to do the times, the subtract and the divide. I could copy this line. So that's Control C and Control V. Let's do it 4 times. The answer is, so we're going to subtract, we're going to multiply, which is the asterisk, and we're going to divide, which is the /. And if you remember from our math session, this is just going to give us a whole number. It's integer division. We're not going to get a sort of 0.5. There's going to be no decimal place in this one at all. Something you need to be aware of. So if I save and run my program, there we go. Please enter a number. Let's make it nice and easy. Let's just do 10 and 2. So we're going to have 12. 10 take away 2 is 8. 10 times 2 is 20. And 10 divided by 2 is just 5. There we go. If I did it the other way round, I had 2 and 10, then obviously these numbers are going to be a little bit different, but the focus should be on this one, which 2 divided by 10 is going to be what? A 0 point, and that will not happen. So let's do that the other way round. Let's do 2, and there we go. I copied and pasted, so I'm going to get those nasty things. 2 and 10. The answer is 12 because we added them together. 2 take away 10 is -8. 2 times 10 is 20, as we had before, and 2 divided by 10 should be 0.2, but it's just given us 0 because it's an integer division. That is from the maths lesson. So we've got the start of a program which will do all of these operations, but we might want to choose an operation with which to do, and to do that we need to start using if statements. So in the next video we'll start looking at if statements.